Hello everybody, my name is Cassandra Watson-Mahelsick. Today I'll be presenting my critique of the performance measurement system for the Oregon Department of Transportation. So the performance measurement system for the Oregon Department of Transportation, or ODOT, has four main focus areas. These are safety, preservation, mobility, and stewardship. For the purpose of this assignment, I'll be critiquing the performance metrics for safety. ODOT has a long-term goal for safety, which is 0 traffic fatalities. The key performance measure used to track this goal is the traffic fatalities and serious injuries rates. This is measured as the number of traffic fatalities and serious injuries per 100 million vehicle miles traveled. The data collected, which is the number of traffic-related fatalities and serious injuries combined, is retrieved from ODOT's Crash Analysis and Reporting Unit, along with the U.S. Department of Transportation's Fatality and Analysis Reporting System, also known as FARS. The data for this particular key performance measure is collected over the calendar year. So as stated earlier, the measures are collected for the combination of motor vehicle fatalities and motor vehicle serious injuries. The measures are reported annually in ODOT's Annual Performance Progress Report. The data is displayed in a tabular format which shows actual numbers and target numbers. Management comments and factors affecting the data are also included. Now, this particular key performance measure is relatively new to ODOT. As you can see in this table, which is taken from ODOT's annual performance report, which was published in September 2021. As you can see in this chart here, there are actual numbers from 2017, 18, and 19. However, there are no target numbers, and part of the reason why is that the information is new and these targets haven't been developed when the report was being put together. However, there is literature on ODOT's website that shows what the new goals or targets will be. I'm just going to go back a couple of slides. Here we go. So as you can see here, there are targets or goals of 6.28 fatalities and serious injuries per 100 million vehicle miles traveled. Now that is going to be the target for the year 2021 and the year 2022. All right. Now, there's no mention of budget in this particular key performance measure, but there is mention of ODOT's strategy to reduce traffic and serious injuries by continuing to implement safety programs along with related safety infrastructure. Both programs and projects, although, require money, so therefore, it's most likely that safety is a driving factor for portions of ODOT's budget. Now, the goal does tie in to ODOT's strategic plan. To the right of this slide, you'll see ODOT's priorities under their strategic plan, which are equity, a modern transportation system, and sufficient and reliable funding. Now, this particular key performance measure of safety falls under the modern transportation system. The goal of this priority is to build, maintain, and operate a modern multimodal transportation system to serve all Oregon citizens, address climate change, and help Oregon communities and economies thrive. There were no citizens involved in this process, as the data retrieved is collected by a division within ODOT and through information gathered by a nationwide specialized census. So, is this a good system? Yes, absolutely. The long-term goal for zero fatalities is so bold. ODOT is thinking big, and I love that for a DOT because that's rare. This is a hard goal to hit, especially since there are so many factors that can impact this measure that are out of ODOT's control, such as DUIs, medical impairments, distracted driving, etc. ODOT recognizes that in order to work towards the long-term goals, interim targets are necessary. Setting goals to reduce actual numbers incrementally over time will allow the agency to evaluate, plan, and reevaluate these plans to see what needs to be tweaked to bring the numbers down even further. This reminds me of one of my favorite quotes from Desmond Tutu. Desmond Tutu was a South African bishop who was known for his work as an anti-apartheid and human rights activist. The quote is, "There's only one way to eat an elephant, a bite at a time." Some other good points that I thought were helpful in this particular KBM were a couple of sections that were included along with the tabular data. There was a section for management comments, and there was a section for facts affecting the data. I thought the management comments were really interesting because it provided a background and understanding, a more in-depth understanding of the key performance measure. And the section including facts that affected the data was also interesting because it creates transparency, which builds trust and eventually credibility. All right. So what would I do differently? First and foremost, rule of thumb for everything, keep it simple. Maybe use less acronyms and technical language. Use better and more photos. We just have this one photo here in the middle of this text. Include more fact statements, such as this bubble right here. It gets very easy to get lost in this text. One of the things I have to remind myself, because I too work in a technical field, is just because I'm presenting technical information, I have to remember that there are people who are going to be reviewing this that don't necessarily have the technical background that I do, more specifically executive management and the public. So keeping things clear and concise certainly helps. Another thing I would change is perhaps introducing a new key performance measure under safety for worker safety. Many DOT workers work in live traffic, which puts them at risk. Each year, several DOT employees are seriously injured and sometimes die on the job. Below is data taken from the Federal Highway Administration webpage, which displays the trends of roadway construction worker fatalities between the years 2005 and 2010. Although the numbers are decreasing, there is still work to be completed. The last thing I would do differently is possibly break down the causes of traffic-related fatalities and serious injuries into further key performance measures, such as fatalities and serious injuries involving signalized controlled intersections, accidents involving large trucks, impaired driving, DUIs, etc. These specific metrics from these new key performance measures can help develop more specific measures to further reduce fatalities and serious injuries. For example, if fatalities and serious injuries were recorded at signalized controlled intersections, planning divisions can create programs to modify specified signalized controlled intersections into roundabout intersections. Now, it's proven that roundabout intersections are safer. And part of the reason is, as you can see in this photo on the bottom right section of the slide, roundabouts have less potential vehicle conflict points. These little red dots are conflict points. And the conflict points that they do have usually result in less severe traffic accidents. They're usually sideswipe accidents. Overall, I think ODOT did a really good job in measuring performance for safety. I would eventually like to delve into the other 12 key performance measures for ODOT, as I think they're all related to the whole purpose of the agency. I hope you found this information interesting. Thank you for my patience. I'm sure you hear the fireworks and my dogs barking. So happy 4th of July, everybody. Have a good evening.